What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. Today we're going to walk through the draft 3 rounds at a time, talk about the running backs in that range that I think have the best chance to be league winners given their ADP. There are about 10 to 15 players each season that actually improve your chances of making the playoffs, winning a championship, so hitting on those players is super important. Rounds 1 through 3. Most likely league winner is Christian McCaffrey. Honorable mentions to both Jahmyr Gibbs and Bucky Irving. Gibbs has 31 touchdowns over his first 2 seasons, including 20 last season, is obviously a threat in the receiving game, is likely to see more touches this season, just given that the offense will take a step back. We also know that he would be the #1 overall running back in all fantasy in any week that David Montgomery misses, so he has that upside baked in. The reason I can't put him first is that, yes, he'll probably see a higher percentage of the touches given that they're scoring fewer points. But if the offense isn't scoring 33 points per game, he's probably going to drop from his 20 touchdowns last season. And while he is a threat in the receiving game, he only has 52 receptions in each of his first 2 seasons. That's obviously good, but McCaffrey could do that in half of a season, so they're not really that close in terms of receiving threats. Also, Gibbs only averaged 2.8 receptions per game in the weeks that David Montgomery played last season. So again, not nearly the same receiving upside as McCaffrey. Then with Bucky, he's awesome, and he does come at a better ADP value, and the Bucs should run for touchdowns at a higher rate than last season. They threw for touchdowns at a crazy rate. That should pull back, and more of them should be rushing touchdowns, but the Bucs are also due for a lot of scoring regression as well as an offense, and they do have 2 capable running backs behind them, like Sean Tucker and Rachaad White are pretty good backup running backs. Those 2 alone could probably be starting running backs on another team, or at least like a duo. The duo of Tucker and White could probably start for a team. McCaffrey, it's all him, right? Like, this is a team that doesn't really, like, they have Guerrero, they have a rookie back there, but I mean, those 2 are injured. Those 2 are missing pretty much all of camp. So no one in this backfield is competing with him for touches. It's a top 5 scoring offense. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL. You also have Ayuk expected to miss the first, honestly, at this point, the expectation's like a month and a half, maybe 2 months of the season. He could return closer to like week 10 or week 11, which is crazy. Debo is gone. Again, all of the running backups are hurt. Again, Gibbs would project as the #1 overall running back in fantasy if Montgomery got hurt. But Christian McCaffrey is going to project as the #1 overall running back in week 1. That's the difference here. The only way McCaffrey is not like a top 2 or 3 running back this season is if he gets injured. And there's not very many running backs you can say that about. There's probably 3. You could probably say that for Saquon, Bijan, and McCaffrey. And so the fact that you're able to get McCaffrey, again, I would take him 7th overall. At times, you can get him because people are scared off in the late first round. That just opens up such a ceiling. And if we're trying to identify the most likely league winner, yes, there's a chance that he gets hurt. There's probably, like a 25% chance that he misses a good chunk of the season. But in the other 75% of the time, he's a league winner. Who has the best odds of being a league winner? Christian McCaffrey. Rounds 4 through 6, most likely league winner is TreVeyon Henderson. We'll throw an honorable mention on to Ken Walker. You guys know I love him. And don't be scared of Ken Walker. I wanted to mention him because we have this like in and out of the lineup with this like foot. They're resting him. So this has been a plan the entire offseason is he has suffered injuries. They don't want to overload him. They want to keep him healthy. So it is the plan to have him practice sometimes and then not practice, kind of go back and forth because they know he's the guy. When he's been out there practicing, he's been a full go, getting the lion's share of the touches. Like, he is their #1 running back. He is going to be awesome this season. So don't see, he missed another practice, unless they say he suffered an injury, suffered a setback. He's missing time because of injury. If you hear that, okay, that has not been the case with Ken Walker. It has been, this is scheduled maintenance. We don't want him to go out there and get hurt because we know he's going to be our starter. He doesn't need all these reps. So again, love Ken Walker, honorable mention. But TreVeyon Henderson, I mean, just awesome. And I guess the difference between the 2, well, #1 is ADP. You're going to get TreVeyon a little bit later, and so that helps. But there is still at least some projecting that goes into Ken Walker. We're pretty sure with all these things. We're pretty sure he can hold off Charbonnet, and that he's the guy out. We're pretty sure that Kubiak is going to install a very running back friendly system. We're pretty sure this offense is going to be good enough to support elite production in fantasy. But it is possible that we're wrong on some of those things. I feel like those kind of similar takes are a little bit more locked in with TreVeyon. I know for a fact that the play calling is going to be greatly improved. It cannot get worse than it was last season. And Josh McDaniels is like a known addition at offensive coordinator, meaning we know exactly what to expect with his play calling. And we know with 100% certainty that TreVeyon Henderson is going to be featured in the receiving game. That is not a projection we're making. That is a 100% certainty. And since receptions are far more valuable than carries, even in standard scoring leagues, just because they're just so much more efficient, it's very valuable when we know for a fact that someone is locked in to an extremely elevated target share for the position, right? If you compare him to wide receivers, of course it's not, but for running backs, I mean, he's a threat to lead the league in receptions. Like, do I think it's going to happen? No, because McCaffrey's probably going to blow him out of the water, but he is a threat to have so many. He can have 60, 70 receptions a season. And if he doesn't have that, it's because some of those receptions went for like 50 or 60-yard touchdowns, and he only had one, but it was so long that it kind of made up for that difference, right? Like if you have a drive that lasts 15 plays because the plays are all short, sure, you rack up more receptions, but if you bust off a long run, you're not going to have as many receptions. So it gives me a lot more confidence in his ceiling. I guess I think the biggest takeaway between the two, because we know the most valuable part of fantasy is going to be a featured part of his game. There's still some projecting that goes on with Henderson, but that's also why he's not a third round pick. Like if you knew Stevenson was gone, you knew he was going to be a featured running back, 89% of touches, he's probably a second round pick, maybe creeps into round 1. So there's a reason that the ADP is later. It's because we're not 100% sure the Patriots are going to be able to support, a running back 1 in fantasy. We don't know, we know the offensive line got better, but how much better, right? They went from bottom 5 to what? Is it still bottom 10? Is it more league average? We don't know a couple things, but again, that's why he goes in the late 5th round and not the 3rd round or the 2nd round in fantasy. So overall, I just feel very, very confident with TreVeyon. Obviously, in a full PPR league, he's an absolute smash, but just all of the positives around this offense, everything is getting better. They're not going to be a top 5 offense, but when you improve the play calling, improve the playmakers, improve the offensive line, you go from rookie quarterback to year 2, and you have a player this explosive and this much of a scheme fit for the team, it just makes too much sense. You got to be drafting him. I struggle to see an outcome where TreVeyon truly fails. Maybe he doesn't end up being a league winner because it's still difficult to hit on a league winner. But if you draft in round 5, I struggle to see an outcome where you're disappointed in that. Could it happen in weeks 1 or 2 where he's still kind of taking over that role? Maybe, but even in weeks 1 and 2, he's going to have multiple receptions. He's going to be a good play in fantasy. So I just don't see a world where, unless he gets injured, you're disappointed drafting him in the 5th round. Rounds 7 through 9, most likely league winner is Jordan Mason. Honorable mention to both Joe Mixon and Jaylen Warren. I mentioned a lot recently about how much I like the ADP on Joe Mixon. He is like a 5th round pick. I mean, that's what he is. This foot injury has pushed it back to where now you can get him at times in the 8th round, the 9th round. I took him at pick 110 the other day. Nobody wants to draft Joe Mixon. Even if the foot is an issue, you are getting such a discount at this point that it makes up for the risk. I did have someone ask me the other day, oh, do I take him at his ADP on my site in round 5? Well, no. I'm talking about the value of Mixon. He's a round 5 pick without this injury, but because people are pushing it back in round 8, 9, 10 at times, well, now you're fully accounting for that risk. And so it makes it a great pick and a great upside pick, because if he gets past this foot injury and you got him in round 9, he's your 4th running back, and he's going to provide running back 2 value. It's just there's so much upside in that range, and the players going behind him, it's we don't even know if you'll ever be able to rely on them as a running back 3. We truly don't even know. So the upside he carries is just worth it. But I would say, because of the obvious injury he currently has, it's difficult to have him, win in this range. And then for Jaylen Warren, I like the price in that 7th or 8th round. I feel like Caleb Johnson is a little bit overrated. I think people are overdrafting him. I have not been drafting Caleb Johnson. We know for sure also that Jaylen Warren is the passing down back, is more than capable in early downs. Not going to get 250 carries, but more than capable on early downs. And they lost so many touches with Najee that his role is going to expand. And we know last season he had the injury he was working through. That's kind of why the production wasn't there. But again, neither's able to like take over that top spot because there is still that risk for Mixon. And then for the Steelers, it's not like I really expect them to be a top 5 offense. And there's obvious risk there with, Aaron Rodgers. Does he take one hit, done for the year, and then the offense is cooked? With Jordan Mason, though, the path to being a league winner is fairly clear. I mean, the Vikings have a top 5 defense, probably a top 3 defense. They're going to be, top 7 to 10 in scoring this season. They're going to have a top 7 or 8 offensive line. They clearly valued him heavily in free agency. They gave him a 2-year, $10.5 million deal, $7.2 million fully guaranteed. You don't hand out that kind of money unless, you are having a plan from week 1 to use them. And the amount of times that they have told us it's going to be a 50-50 split, and with that money, it's going to be a 50-50 split. Like, they're not lying to us in that regard. They're going to give him a lot of touches. And the fact that, we know what the roles are right now just gives us a lot of confidence, right? We know that Aaron Jones is going to be the passing down back and that Jordan Mason is going to be the guy on early downs, mixing in on passing downs and having goal line. Well, the Vikings are great. The Vikings are an unbelievable offense. And again, they have a great defense. So there's going to be a lot of games where it's really close, at halftime, third quarter. But I think it's going to be Jordan Mason time in the fourth quarter. And if we're expecting them to win a decent amount of games, I love their over. It's 7.5, 8.5, something around there. I think they're going to win double-digit games. I think they win 10, 11 games this season. If that's the case, and they're running the ball a lot in the second half, they're probably not doing it with Aaron Jones. They brought Jordan Mason in to keep Aaron Jones healthy. So if you're winning by 2 touchdowns, it's going to be Jordan Mason over and over and over again, getting the goal line. He's going to have a lot of games where he gets, 20 carries, 100 yards, a touchdown. That's a lot of value when you're looking in this round 7 through 9 range. Again, obviously, if Aaron Jones stays healthy, do I think Jordan Mason ends up being a league winner? Probably not. But that's also why he's not going in rounds 4, 5, 6, right? He's going later because Aaron Jones is there. But if Aaron Jones got hurt, you would have a featured running back on a top 7 offense with a top 3 defense with a top 7 offensive line. You would just have the absolute perfect play in fantasy. He'd be getting 20 to 25 touches every week. He'd be expected to score every week. Receptions mixed in. The upside here is crazy. I know you can theoretically say that about some of these later round running backs, but for a lot of them, we think they'd be featured when the backup gets hurt, but they wouldn't be. We know that Jordan Mason would. And none of them have weekly value. That's the difference, right? When you look at Ray Davis, you look at Rachaad White, I can't actually use them at running back 2 each week when the starter is healthy. You can use Jordan Mason. So he's useful and probably exceeds value without an injury. And with an injury, he's probably a top 7 running back. Those are the players that are league winners. Rounds 10 through 12, most likely league winner is Jaydon Blue, honorable mention to Cam Scatterbu and Ray Davis. Couldn't pull the trigger on those 2 at the top spot because, again, like I just said, I think they absolutely need an injury and don't really have any sort of value if there's not an injury. Ray Davis is not overtaking James Cook. That is not going to happen. He needs James Cook to get hurt to be a league winner. Again, I think he will be, but no value before it happens. And then Scatterbu, is currently hurt. I still think Tyron Tracy Jr. is good and is going to be the starter. I'm much more concerned about Tyron Tracy Jr. than I am Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, right? I just don't think that those 2 are good. Whereas I think Tyron Tracy Jr. is a pretty good running back and is the starting running back on the team. And it's the Giants, right? So there are reasons why you could kind of pull Coles in those 2. And it's not like you can't pull Coles in Jaydon Blue, but we're also in the double-digit rounds at running backs. You're poking holes in everyone, right? But Jaydon Blue, I think he has the upside to break out even without an injury. He's currently kind of banged up, but I think he's probably going to play in the preseason this week. It's tough to kind of know exactly what they want to do, but they want to see him. They want to put some tape on there to kind of see what he can do. But it was a minor injury, right? It was just a bone bruise in the heel. It was nothing that is a concern long-term. It's not really much of a re-aggravation risk. Once he's good to go, he's good to go. Wouldn't be concerned about that. But Blue currently comes off the board in the late 12th round, close to 3 rounds later than Javonte Williams. Again, I have shared my thoughts numerous times about Javonte Williams this summer. I just don't think he's that good anymore. He's had multiple years to recover from this major knee injury. He has not been efficient in any way. Low efficiency, poor in the receiving game. he can pass block. That's probably the best thing, and that's why he's been used in the receiving game. But when you actually throw him the ball, nothing really ever happens. He's not explosive. Like, he's just not a running back you want to throw out there because you know what to expect. He's going to get sort of what's blocked for him and then fall down immediately. That's not what they need in Dallas. And again, decent in pass protection, but they want a running back that's explosive in the receiving game because they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. They don't want someone that's going to catch the ball for 5 yards and fall down. So he's been really bad. I don't think that he's going to win this job all season. Miles Sanders has been hurt most of camp, but even when he's healthy, like we've seen before, like we loved Miles Sanders coming out of college, but he's proven time and time again that he's just kind of overrated, kind of not that good of running back. So I don't really trust these two. And again, like with Javonte, like we saw him in Denver, right? Like, and you'd prefer the Denver spot, right? Denver has a fantastic offensive line. They're a more run-heavy team. They're won more games last year than Dallas is going to win this year. Like, it was a better spot that he was in, and he still really didn't command that much of a lead over Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin, right? So underlying stats are really, really, really bad for Sanders and Javonte Williams. And I will die on a hill that he is a better running back than these two, and he's a perfect match for what they want to do in Dallas. So Blue is explosive. Blue had a ton of forced missed tackles in college, created yards that were not there. Again, that's not something that Javonte and Miles Sanders do. They get what's blocked for them and fall down. Jaydon Blue actually creates yards that are not there, which is great for the offense. And just they kind of need that explosiveness and they need that pass catching threat because they have decent pass catchers in the receiving game. But because they're going to throw the ball so many times, you can't give CeeDee Lamb and Pickens and Ferguson all of these targets. You're going to need the running back to step up at times. If anything, just to like give some respect to the defense or force the defense to respect another pass catcher in the receiving game. So I just think he fits the offense a lot more. Again, I don't think Javonte and Miles Sanders are really anything. I think to start the season, it's probably not going to be Blue. So he's probably going to be someone that you have on your bench. You're like, okay, I'm rostering him. I know that it's going to be a month. It's going to be a month and a half before like I really think he breaks out. But who knows? Like at this point, if he goes out there in the preseason and he looks as good as he did on some of the runs he had in training camp, late 12th round, I mean, I think he could go up to like a 8th or 9th round pick if he has a good game in the preseason. So hopefully that does not happen. Rounds 13 plus, most likely league winner is Bhayshul Tuten. I'll give honorable mentions to Braylon Allen, Colin Monangai, and Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt. I just don't want us to go too crazy on these 7th round rookies. Monangai looks great and the opportunity is there. Like, I think Roschon is not good. Like he has been inefficient in college as a pro. Like every single time you look at his stats, you're like, you should be better than this. You have more opportunity. Like you have every opportunity to be decent and you're doing absolutely nothing. You put like 2.7 yards per carry last season. Pretty much anyone can get 2.7 yards per carry or more. I don't care how bad the situation was in Chicago. So he's not that good. I think he can, he's going to probably win the goal line job to start the season, but I think Monangai's easily going to be a better running back, easily take over. And who knows, like maybe DeAndre Swift only goes into like that Gibbs role, and it kind of doesn't have as much of the early down workload. And maybe it is Monangai leading this team in carries. Who knows? But again, 7th round rookie, historical success rate, very, very low. And then Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt, it's a similar situation. I mean, I think we all know that Brian Robinson Jr. is a mediocre running back, no explosiveness, basically just gets what's blocked for him. If they want that added in, Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt looks like a hit in round 7, but again, 7th round rookie running backs have a very low success rate. So I like those two as like your final running back pick, you know, especially if you were in like a 12-team league, got like 6-7 bench spots, final pick. Great. Braylon Allen looks like he's actually going to have a decent role. So he probably goes too late in drafts just from like that baseline role. And then who knows? If they actually end up trading Breece Hall to Dallas or they trade him to another team, well, of course, Braylon Allen is going to gain a lot of value because he's going to have a ton of carries on a team that, you know, just is going to run the ball probably the most in the league. The only problem with him is receiving, like especially if Breece Hall stays on the team. Braylon Allen might have like 7 receptions on the season, so he has to do everything on the ground, and it's harder to be a league winner. So I don't see really the path to being a league winner if Breece Hall is still there, but if there's an injury or a trade, that could absolutely happen. With Tuten, it's another one where I don't think there needs to be an injury or a trade. The best outcome is obviously that there is, right? Obviously, you want Travis Etienne traded away because Etienne's not in their long-term plan, right? Like next season, they're not going to re-sign Travis Etienne. He's going to be gone. So if they decide, you know, Tuten's doing great, Tuten's going to want to lean on, then they're going to do that. They can trade him away. And now you've got Tuten and Bigsby on a great offense. And their roles kind of mixed together. You can have Tank Bigsby more in that like pure early down role. You can have Tuten in that, kind of explosive role, change of pace while also being the passing down back. And that would be fantastic for drafting, of course, in rounds 13 plus. So you can see the upside there. But I also think Tuten's just good enough to hit, even if there's not this. Like, yes, Etienne and Bigsby are solid running backs, but it feels like Tuten is kind of that great mixture. Etienne's not that good on early downs. Bigsby is a better early down running back, but Bigsby can't catch, right? He's a horrible pass catching running back, and so they have Etienne doing that. Tuten can do both. Like, if you wanted to make Bhayshul Tuten a complete featured running back, he has the best mixture of the, explosive receiving upside of Etienne mixed with that early down upside and that between the tackles upside of Tank Bigsby. And so if you just wanted to keep him on the field, he has Bucky Irving upside, where as the season goes on, he's more and more involved. And to close the year, they're like, how do we take Bucky Irving off the field? That could be the case with Bhayshul Tuten. I just think in forcing missed tackles, he was incredible. In creating yards that were not there, he was incredible. He was a really, really good running back in college. He fits the system. It's a great system. Again, we love Liam Cohen. We think the play calling is going to be amazing. So I'm all in on Bhayshul Tuten. He's someone that, again, if there's no trade, no injury, I don't know that he's going to completely just jump over these two and be, a running back one in fantasy. But at this point, you would take a flex play. You would take someone that's getting 10 carries and 3 receptions every single week. You would take that in the flex spot or at running back 2 in this offense. And again, Tuten is such a baller that I really think the raw talent is there, that a Bucky Irving-like breakout is possible. And when that is also attached to this Jaguars offense that I want to be invested in this season, I think there's for sure a chance he can break out, be a running back 2 for you, and with a trade, be a running back 1. That would make him a league winner. So if you want to see a complete list of all of my must-draft players this season, check that out on my website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com. And if you have a draft coming up, want to see my rankings as well, or you have an in-person draft as well, cheat sheet this season, finally revamped. So prior seasons, you click print, it wasn't that great. You got like multiple pages, nothing was color-coded, nothing looked great. You got a cheat sheet this season. You can put everything onto one page, beautifully formatted, all looks fantastic. So if you have access to the rankings, please check that out. It's under other rankings and it says like principal rankings. Print those off. If you have an in-season draft, you will thank me later. All right, that'll do it for this one. Please leave a like if you've made it this far. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new here. I'll be back tomorrow to go over the latest news from around the league.